Probably seen these bread trucks driving around your city. Now, most of these are owned by independent contractors, but is a bread route a good business to own? We're going to take a look at that today on Franchise Inspectors. I have no idea why this particular business is so popular, but it is. It's kind of like the Amazon delivery business opportunity. We covered that one many years back. I'll place the link up above. And no matter what you say to people who get this delivery route bug, you will not change their mind. But we'll give it a shot. Now, if you've never heard of a bread route, it's basically a business model where you are paid as an independent contractor to sell and deliver bread in your own protected territory. Now, brokers, they make a lot of money telling you how you can be your own boss and enjoy financial freedom as a bread route owner. And at any given time, you can look online, there are hundreds of bread routes for sale. Now, before we begin, I completely respect the men and women who deliver bread. They took the time to start their own business. They had that initiative, and they're providing a very important service. There are also absolutely owners who have built up larger routes. They've got multiple employees. They love their business and they make a great living. But a typical route is not for everyone. So for starters, how much does a bread route cost? Now, as a very general rule, a route can sell for a multiple of weekly sales. So if you see a number like 20 to 1, that means the route is selling for 20 times multiple of the weekly sales. So if weekly sales are $10,000 with a 20 multiple, the business would list at $200,000. Now keep in mind though, most of the routes for sale are not great routes. These are mostly people who had that bread route dream and couldn't make it work, even though they tried very hard. Now you see the same routes for sale over and over again, and the only people who are getting rich are the brokers. Now check out this Redditor who was a pharmacist looking to buy a bread route available in his area. And he's saying the owner does a route himself and pays himself as an employee from the business. The pay is about $65,000, while the business is asking $490,000. Now most people, they would call that buying a job, and not a very high-paying job at that, which brings us to the first drawback of a bread route. The business is not very scalable. Now, the majority of bread routes that you see out there, it's one truck, one owner operator, and you will always be trading your time for money and limited by hours in the day. Now, can you get multiple trucks and can you scale the business? Quite possibly, depending on your territory and your own abilities. But this is not an ideal business for scaling, and there's always going to be a finite ceiling to your growth. Number two, if you are looking at an existing bread route, look at their customer base. In some cases, if there are many small accounts and one single big account, losing that one big account can cripple the business overnight. Now, if a route has many small accounts, like convenience stores, for example, that are spaced very widely apart, that's going to be more time and money and more gas expense than a bread route that only has 6 large accounts that are within a 4-mile span, obviously. But with larger accounts, if you lose one of those, you will be disproportionately affected. Number 3, nature of this business, hard work and even harder hours. Now, if you're not a morning person, a bread route probably not for you. It's not uncommon for people to start between 2 and 4 in the morning. Also, are you planning on taking a vacation in the near future? If you do, ask yourself if you trust someone to drive your truck, handle deliveries, and not mess up and lose any of your accounts. Can you afford to hire someone given your tight margins? You will always be lifting and bending all day, every day. Are you prepared to do that? Also, rain, shine, high winds, 110 degrees, does not matter. People need to get their bread. And if you don't show up, you're going to lose that account. Also be prepared to always calculate how much bread your stores need. Say for July 4th, that's going to be a busy day, and you place a huge order, and guess what? It rains. It's a terrible day. Guess what? You are left with dozens of loaves which brings us to number 4, which is unsold inventory. A bread route owner doesn't just pick up the bread at the depot and deliver it. They are also responsible to take back any bread that has not been sold. Now, if you know what you're doing, you can rotate that product between slow stores to fast-selling stores. But at the end of the day, you are responsible for all stale, unsold bread. And if you're not on the ball and you're not doing things right, that can be a lot of bread. Number 5 is expenses. Okay, a lot of people forget, but this is an actual business. All the expenses are going to be up to you to cover. You need to buy and maintain a truck, which is not cheap. Take a look at this one comment. It really stuck with me on Reddit. It sums up how things can go badly quickly. Getting up at 2 a.m., working an entire summer, basically having all profit eaten up in repairs. This person walked away from the business after losing everything. They got sued by the company and ultimately had to declare bankruptcy. So yes, things can go right, but they can also go very wrong. You need to have a contingency plan in place if you don't have money to support that business. And number 6, this is not an introvert's dream business. People think you're just picking up bread, driving to the store, dropping it off, and you don't have to speak or interact with anyone. Truth is, you're going to have to deal with managers of the store constantly, and often when they are unhappy about something that you did or something that they think you did. This is a very competitive business as well. There's always someone trying to muscle in and win your accounts over, so you really have to maintain that rapport with your customers. Now, if you're buying a distressed business that you're going to build up, obviously, you're going to have to get out there and make things happen. You're going to have to sell to stores in your area. A lot of people don't think so, but owning a bread route is more human interaction than you might think. And the big question, how much can I make with a bread route? In most cases, an average of 20% of all products sold is an industry standard. Now, if you live in a big city with dense population centers and high demand, that can be very profitable. But if the route is in a rural area with many small stores, like convenience stores that are spaced widely apart, that can be a challenge. Other questions, how fuel efficient is your vehicle, is your bread truck? Keep in mind, you are now responsible for all the expenses in running that business, including insurance, licenses, an accountant to do your books once a year. That's going to be around $1,500 or more. Fuel for the vehicle, and that's a cost that you cannot control. Truck repairs, as we saw above, those can completely wipe out all of your margins. So even if you are, for example, making $500,000 in gross revenue at 20%, $100,000 in margin, that $100,000 gets a lot smaller when you back out all of these expenses, known and unknown. And one final question that you really should ponder. Do you think the companies that are selling these routes said to themselves one day, boy, John, we're making so much money delivering the bread here. The logistics are so simple. Why don't we sell these routes to other individuals? No, they said this aspect of the business is really complicated. It requires a lot of planning. The truck repairs and fuels and expenses, these things are all growing. And you know what? There's thousands of people out there who want to own their business who are going to think this is a great opportunity. Hence, we have the never-ending cycle of these bread routes being sold over and over and over again. Now, for the right person, in the right area, at the right time, a bread route can be a good option. But in many cases, this becomes buying a mediocre paying job, plus having all the expenses and risk that are involved in owning a business. Always, if you're absolutely convinced this is what you want to do, go on the route with the owner for at least a few days before you commit to anything. And also, by all means, look at other options that are out there. There are dozens in that price range that could be a better fit for your business goals. Thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe.